every Monday. You know, hey,
Running out of breath, but I got stamina. Running out, close my eyes, well, I got stamina. And I see another mountain to climb, but I got stamina. I need another lover, be mine. I got stamina. Don't give up, I won't give up. Don't give up, no, no, no. Don't give up, I won't give up. Don't give up, no, no, no. I'm afraid to be the greatest I'm alive. I'm afraid to be the greatest here tonight. The greatest, the greatest, the greatest alive. The greatest alive. Oh, I got stamina. Oh, I got stamina. Oh, I got stamina. Oh, I got stamina. Don't give up, no, no, no. Don't give up, I won't give up, no.
If you have a side gig and need to file your taxes, visit freetaxusa.com. With us,
The best way to describe the work of Diavolo is architecture in motion. I'm interested in the relation and interaction between the human body and the architectural environment, how it is affecting us, not only emotionally but socially and physically. All the dancers in Diavolo choreograph all the pieces. I direct them. I see how they move inside and around and under, and how they become the extension of the architectural environment, how they become fragile and vulnerable and powerful, how the human body and the architectural environment work together. And so I don't see myself as a choreographer, but I call myself an architect of motion. after 15 years of touring nationally and internationally, it is still extremely challenging to describe what Diavolo is all about. There is no words to describe the work of Diavolo. It is visceral, it is organic. You have to experience it for yourself. It is architecture in motion.
So you want to know how to sell art for thousands of dollars right now? Well, forget about art galleries, fairs, or NFTs. There's a little
My name is Christine. I live in Jersey City, New Jersey, and I went from working in healthcare to being a software engineer in one.
Hinged investigates the relationship between the mechanical and the human body. A hinge adds on one layer of mechanical complexity, causing the behavior of the hinged pole to be less intuitive. The hinges are hard conductors of forces. They define the fixed relationship of the two human bodies. The human bodies are soft conductors of forces. As one performer passes the force to the other performer through the hinged poles, the latter's body loses balance, and human instinct pushes the body to respond to the force. This performance amplifies Schlemmer's intention to incorporate the bodily experience of the performers into the performance.
Schlemmer's stick dance is a kind of space language which discusses the relationship between body and space.
Our performance is a reinterpretation of Schlemmer's stick dance, however with the addition of a sound layer generated using real-time motion detection and AR technology. We create a series of motion vocabulary by putting different kinds of invisible instruments in space.
The locations of instruments form a 2D grid in space, which is regarded as a space constraint. So when a part of our bodies moves into a specific location in space, these invisible instruments are activated and start to play a specific sound. When we use these vocabularies to dance, which incorporates fluid movements, it creates music. This music is then visualized as a map of sound, which becomes another expression of the dance.
In Mechalogica, I observed several ideas that were prevalent in Oskar Schlemmer's work. These include form, order, and mechanic movement. Observing how his dancers appear dehumanized at times in service to these ideas, I'm curious if Schlemmer was perhaps suggesting the augmentation or replacement of the body with machines. In Mechalogica, I explore this observation by not only mechanizing but also robotizing the body toward present-day ideas of robots, cyborgs, and singularity. For the creation of Mechalogica, a contemporary dance solo, I've used Oskar Schlemmer's diagram of the gesture dance as a springboard for movement generation, as well as videos of the triadic ballet as a reference to his movement vocabulary. My intention is not to reinterpret the gesture dance or choreograph a new dance based on the triadic ballet vocabulary, but rather to use my own movement language to explore the ideas observed in these works, namely form, order, and mechanic movement.
Peace and blessings, everyone. Please, if you may, follow me to this portal and we're going to talk about it. It's such a lovely space provided by Mo. Thank you so much. So, everybody, hop into this portal and I will follow behind you.
Blessings, everyone, and welcome into the iDance Art House Web3 Metaverse space, coming live at you Saturday Night Live with ShivaLeela Allen. Let's talk about it 2.0. I am so happy to be your hostess today, and welcome into my metaverse space and podcast audio. Now, today we have a special topic, and we're going to jump right into it right after we play a little bit of sounds and allow everyone to enter the room respectfully. I hope everyone's been having an awesome day, and I'll hop back in as soon as everyone acquaints themselves with the space. And I'll make sure that everyone has a seat here at the couch so that we can get prepared for today's discussion.
Without further ado, let's talk about it. Let's speak on some of those key points that I've seen in the first video, Nowness by LA Dance Production, Luma Foundation. I absolutely fell in love with the video. I actually, to be honest, I'm not going to lie, I shedded a few tears the first time I watched it because I was just kind of like eating breakfast on the wing, and I decided to start researching more about the relations between dance and architecture. And I found out it is a large scale of people that is researching this and actually studying it. Like myself, I am a techie. I am a digital creator myself as well as a dancer, and I put the two together all the time. Like right now, I am using the 3.0 immersive space to hold these podcasts and metacasts and to hold these performances so that it could be more immersive for the watcher. And I'm at this point looking more into the future and gamifying it and incentivizing the community. So now it is what it is. It is that whole 3.0 experience, and just with them incorporating architecture, it just made it more of a solid thing. Like this season we're focused on earth because this is like the Capricorn season. This is more of the earth this month. So the earth signifies a grounding mechanism. It also signifies the way in which we should be feeling grounded, balanced. And the setting when they started off on the beach was super significant because you could see them walking on the beach, chilling. They had on regular clothes, and I could feel that they were also performing because of the walk and the stance. Like I always say, posture is everything, right? And the first thing that you heard from the video was, "How did you get there?" So the girl yells, "How did you get there?" And to me, let's break down that part. How did you get there? So, with that question being asked, it was a big opener. It was an attention grabber. And to me, it grabbed my attention because I'm, again, a dancer, and I understood that it's not like she was asking, "How did you get there?" Is asking like, how can I get there? Or, how can I learn that? Or how can I learn how to do what you're doing? It's almost like an unspoken language, but she was literal about it. So that was like the powerful part. You didn't expect her to say, "Hey, how did you get there?" In the setting, which it was just super quiet. So when they approached the trains, it was like, okay, cool. They're by the trains, they're loud trains moving. And the inspiration, it showed like that the movement was structured. They had like movement like AIs, and they were in pairs. And eventually you see them dancing on the freeway path. And that was another powerful scene to me. It's like almost watching a movie. I loved it. It was like super structured. It was a trio, but the movement to me was communicating that they were outside of their boundaries. They were outside of the structure in which everyone else was in. They were above. They were above on the freeway path. But again, the dancer that was inside of the big building made her way to the patio and looks out and yells, "Hey, how did you get there?" And then they say, "You have to go around." And she's like, "It's too far." So a lot of the times, even when that is broken down into literal content, we have to think about, what does that mean? Like, we always ask questions, right? As humans, we are very inquisitive. And it's almost like we're asking, how did you get there? Period, right? That's the basic foundation question. How did you do it? How did you get there? I want to know how you did it. And if someone even slightly says that you have to put in a little work to us, or it is like a a variation of uncomfortability. And so the girl immediately says it's too far. But the synchronicity of the trio continues up at top. They don't stop dancing because she says it's too far. They continue dancing. So I see life that way. I see life as a continuous learning experience. And if we can't get there, it continues until we're ready. Like, you know what I'm saying? Until she was ready to join that dance, she had to stand on that patio and stay where she was in that environment where she was, right? Environment is also a lot, means a lot. So again, in the discussion of dance and architect, the dance leading into the tiny circle of light that fades away is super powerful because, like, I didn't expect the camera scene to do so, but it gave a shadow to everything that the beginning part of the video was talking about. Was like, how did you get there? And it was a big bright light, square shape, and as the video zooms out, it becomes absolutely, it disappears. So it's like in one point we could see the light, and at the next point it could disappear, and then the next scene leads into the rock sounds and a dance duo with two men, and they're like going at it, like, you know, back and forth, scuffling on the ground, crawling on the ground, motioning back and forth with this vortex type motion. And it's just dope. Like, they're crawling backwards together, and it creates this vortex to me. Like, I could feel the vortex, because we'll talk about dance and how that relates to the human body and distance. So yeah, the vortex and them being underground, it being dark, and them creating those big large movements was like creating a wave, and it was very powerful again, because again, they're two males, they have black on, and they're structured dancing. They're not just moving just whimsically, like they are dancing together. And it's like creating a story. The story is like they're at a coming together, maybe trying to escape this dark shadow energy, but maybe trying to also, like that crabs in a barrel, feeling as though maybe one is better than the other. Maybe that's why they're stuck beneath the underground. And then that scene again turns into another scene where there's a woman and a man that's tilted, and they're above ground. So they're above ground and they're on a tilted foundation. And I'm just like looking at that whole scene, like, wow, the woman and the man are like doing a roll as though they're like just on solid ground, but they're making sure that they don't fall. So it's like they have a agreement, like, hey, we're going to intertwine our bodies until we create a dance. And that was what I seen. Like, it was like a fluidity going up and down that tilted foundation. It's just so beautiful. And so it moves over into the scene above ground where they are on the top of a building, and it shows a green escape on the rooftop trio. They're very strong movements, and there's three women, and they're rolling and spinning on the ground. And I'm like, man, that's just powerful. Like, I don't think that every dancer in the film was professional, but I got the feeling that they all had an expression. And so the next one was the black male solo inside of the building, which was powerful because the female walks in, the white female in the red, and I got the feeling of the lady in the red dress. Yep. So as you notice, there's 1, 2, 3 pairs, and then you see it, they create a unit. And if you're very observant, you can see that the grounds are wet. And with that being said, you know, they're creating a scene. It's a story. It's a poetic story to where I feel like they're trying to amplify and execute all different types of elements of nature. And I guess maybe they're not grounded, because wet grounds, you slip. And, you know, even at the end of this video, or of this portion of the video, they leave wet footprints behind. So it's kind of like that story I was telling my husband about the footprints in the sand. Like, God never leaves you alone. You're never alone. Almost kind of like, you know, there's always an extra set of footprints there, because you know that you're being guided. Just like the significance between that Bible version story and that, it had made sense to me. It was true. And so, again, that was a message from one of my dance girls that I danced with about performance. Super cool. Got a performance coming up. And stay tuned for that. Sign up for Patreon to watch all of my performances exclusively and get that NFT behind it. And so the dancers in the video was Stephanie Mu, Aaron Carr, Julia Ichitian, David Adrian Freeland Jr., Morgan Lugo, Robbie Moore, Rachel Rafadeles, Ligia, Ru Keeds Dosi Dati. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And the film was directed by Adrian Dantu, and the music was by Pierre. So on video number 2, you see it starts off with a pink wall by Louis Barragan, and you see there's steel legs and there's a ball, maybe like art. I mean, I'm an artist as well. I'm an art enthusiast and collector, so that part, that steel was super deep, meant a lot because that ball was heavy. It was a piece of steel, and the person may have been looking upside down for a reason. So you got to kind of think about what the artist is trying to portray, but you can always put your spin on what you think. And so what I think was there was a significance between being grounded again and having your feet up, allowing, using the path of least resistance. And with that being a portrait side by side, it was like, okay, I get it. The garden with the red bottom pant dancers. And so that was a portion of a combination of men and women in a group, freelance dancing in a garden. I liked it that they were intertwined kind of as well, which led into the yellow wall. And that was a lot of free movement. The hair was going side by side, swinging, and you've seen a lot of group dancing. And the group dancing was significant because you did see a lot of single dancing, but the group dancing was like a motion. Of course, everybody had to have a flow. Everybody had to flow together, and the group dance went into the slow movement. And so that's the language in itself. And it ended on them laying in the ground. So video number 3, the girl dancing in the pixels was awesome. It was a mix of aerobics and dance fusion. I seen belly dance as well because she was doing the snake arms, right? A lot of my fitness dance students know what I'm talking about because I teach fitness online, and that's token gated with NFTs. And so we get art and we get to use our creativity with dance. And it was an awesome idea. The dancer's name was, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, Amigilia Nicolia. Amigilia Nicolia. Okay. And so video number 4 was almost my favorite, but I have so many favorites within this segment of SNL. Let's talk about it 2.0. But Diavolo, he created Architect in Motion. And Architecture in Motion, I remember seeing that on a segment of So You Think You Can Dance or something like that, like one of those game shows. But I'm an artist and I seen that and I didn't really realize what that meant and how much time those individuals put into that whole performance. But he is an enthusiast. His interest is the relation between the human body and architect environment infecting us emotionally, socially, and physically. And so it's like, okay, what does that mean? What does that really mean? The human body is so incredible, and it reiterates the system of interdependent parts and systems. We're directly affected by the environment around us, both emotionally, socially, and physically. Emotionally, our surroundings can evoke certain feelings and moods. Socially, our environment can influence how we interact with others. Physically, our environments can impact our physical health, performance, and well-being. From the architecture of our homes to the My screen is reloading, everyone.
And emotional health. And with all that being said, it just means that whenever we feel something, it does mean that it has a significant part on our psyche and how we think and our emotions and moods. And that's why dancers can have this. I put them on a pedestal because it's like, okay, they have another language that they speak. We have another language. And that's what we try to portray to the audience. And within the community of us, we're portraying that to others. And with that, it's going to reciprocate a wave, a movement, right? And so it's like, okay, the New York Times calls his work straightforward playfulness with props, physicality that elicits cheers from the audience. And yeah, I understand that. I agree. And Stanford Lively Arts says Diavolo appears to define gravity, astounding athleticism and infinite grace. I realized there was lots of shapes, rounds, round objects, holes, lights, new tones and shapes. I loved it. I loved it. It is like amazing because again, it was solidly focused on that, and even within movies, because I watched this AI robot movie that was based on AI technology and the apocalypse. That was also within the Chinese community. So it was all a mixture of what I liked, of course, but what I actually am into is the interactions and how we can intercept and how we can improve technology to help us. You know what I'm saying? So using technology and AI to help. And so the Long Beach Press Telegram, Infinity in Motion, they 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 also look at it as a defying movement because all these people they're leaving behind reviews, and all of the reviews were awesome because I'm also reviewing myself. I'm like kind of like a reviewer slash commentator, and I'm looking at everything like the metal slides, the round hoop swings. And so if I mispronounce this, please forgive me. Hanno Verskish Alec Mling in Germany, they defined it as world class, exacting choreography, elegant, powerful beauty with thrill of danger, a special way of dancing. I also see sharp movements, running, flying, crawling through hoops, and disappearing in stairs. It's like, come on now, how could you not like that? That is something that you can actually keep and put down in the books for life. It is a dance in motion, something that you can never forget. This is what every artist is trying to get to the people, the public. It is an act of being able to share that content, be accessible. All right, public sharing, all right, resources. All of those things play a role, especially when using props as well. All right. Video 5 was about the research timeline process of dance and architect by Iris. I'm sorry if I mispronounced this. Athenadicity. So please watch that video carefully over and over again. If you have access to that, please sign up for the Patreon if you want to view these videos on replay. Again, for copyright issues, they are available on the Patreon link description for my Patreon members. All right, so yeah, so like video 6 is a 3-minute film about architecture and dance by Vinay Panjawi. I'm sorry if I pronounced that. It was shot at the 079 studio in black and white. Him and his female counterpart was super deep. I loved the music that was used in this video. I actually was moved to kind of moved into tears because every movement I could see that it was used with arms, and it was almost like AI kind of like robotic movement, but it was so strong that it didn't really take much to do so. It didn't really take much movement, I guess. They used simple movements like cartwheels, layers of cloth that captured the person. And then at the end of the video, you could see that both parties were at peace. The male and female counterpart took on an embrace, super deep. Looked like the 079 studio was a mansion, very complex architecture again. So they're incorporating dance around architecture. So the next video 7, was about space movement and the technological body, which was a tribute to Bahus, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, which was a stick dance by some of the Harvard GSD students. And it started off talking about space language by Oscar Schleimer. And it was a really significance on the detection and AI and ideas of motion in dance. And they focused on using invisible instruments in space and playing a specific sound. So a little bit of background of the late Oscar Schleimer vision on dance and architect. Oscar Schleimer was a pioneer of modern dance and architect in the early 20th century. He envisioned his work to be a synthesis of artistic expression and a physical and spiritual connection between movement and architecture. Schleimer saw dance as not just an activity of movement, but as a representation of physical relationships between individuals and the surrounding environment. He believed that a person's movement could be choreographed to illustrate a spiritual application of one's physical self in relation to the world. Through his interactive choreography, he hoped to create a sense of spatial unity by unifying the physical and spiritual aspects of space. His vision of interweaving architect and dance captured the attention of many, inspiring a new way of thinking about space. Schleimer sought to bring his vision of life by transforming traditional ballroom dancing into something unique. His choreography focused on geometric patterns, abstract shapes, and ecstatic movements. This allowed for increased freedom of expression for the dancers, as well as creating an entirely new type of visual narrative. Through this, he looked to provide a way for people to feel more connected to the environment. Schleimer, also an avid creator of architectural designs, he combined his knowledge of architecture and choreography to create structures that could accommodate the energies of the dance. I thought that it was so genius. I get chills every time I think of that. His designs often featured curved walls and emphasized the importance of movable parts to create the scenes of fluidity between the dancers and the physical space, right? Like the scenes that we watched again before we hopped into Schleimer. And so other people are using this idea to capture their story, their story, and Schleimer's vision of bringing together the physical and spiritual aspects of space in order to create a sense of unity and to connect our surrounding was revolutionary. Again, he was using the physical and he was using space. And so again, we see that being reiterated now with the physical and digital, right? And that was revolutionary then, and it's still now. So think about what we're doing here in iDance Art House, all right? When we're using the blockchain where something that you create is used and it is your own content, not only as the creator, but also as the collector. It is never duplicated. It is a one-to-one. All right. This is what we're doing here. Revolutionary things. His creativity has continued to inspire and shape the way we see dance architecture in the world. All right. So I loved it. I love understanding his way of thinking. I love understanding other people's way of thinking. Um, Incorporating fluid movement and creating a map of sound. The map of sound was also a revolution in the world and how we see and we connect dance, movement, sound, motion, senses. All right. And the I'm gonna say this, but a little bit about Schleimer. He was a German painter, sculptor, designer, and choreographer associated with the Bauhaus School in 1923. And he was hired as a master of form at the Bauhaus Theater Workshop, and he worked on workshops and sculptures. So if you want to learn a little bit more about his amazing works, definitely look into it, because this is something that I'm also learning with you guys, and I'm like loving this. And the idea of it all is when you learn, it creates a pivot to learn more. And even with learning about Schleimer, I ran across the triadic ballet. The triadic ballet. I mean, the triadic ballet, it became so widely performed at the avant-garde artistic dance that, this is what put him on the map as well. And from what I can understand, the triadic ballet was a vocabulary. The triadic ballet was a vocabulary, yes. And there was a young woman who we watched who performed it. She named her dance the Mecca the Mechalurgica. It was a solo, and it was, inspired by Oscar Schleimer's work. It was based on form, order, mechanic movement, and the augmentation and replacement of body machines was really talked about. So I think that she really tried to embody the contemporary movement and body dance that she knew, and the robots, cyborgs, and synchronicities, and what the study was behind the triadic ballet vocabulary. And the triadic ballet vocabulary, it had a real big significance on the world, because I'm like, wow. It was very interesting that it also used hands, because again, we use hands as a medium in communication between digital devices. Like they said in the movie, it's a navigation. The physical and the virtual space, the spatial interferences. And so the spatial interferences between communication creates a movement based by performances. And so sometimes that creates circles and all types of shapes. But those relations is like, our communication is seen to just be a dialogue, but it's much studied much deeper when it's just dance, because there is no verbal sense or form. But the argument between this is why we're watching the video. And so we're looking at the verses. So the form versus void, train versus trial, action versus feedback, force versus consequence. That's all communicated between dance. And it's so special, because that is special that you don't have to even say much. A lot of people don't have the words to say sometimes for emotion or feeling that they feel. And so, again, yeah, the triadic ballet is just super deep. Like, I would say we could do another segment discussing that, but we're going to hop right back into the video, and that was focused on this portion with human as objects. And this was in real time, conquering the barrier of distance with phone, allowing us to choose when to reply, which means it has a lot to do with intentional delay response, emotional transmissions, which is unpredictable. I know that when I text, I don't know when I may read it or when I may text back, but I know that delay, they're getting better with technology. And I guess the more that we upgrade within technology, the better that we could see dialogue and the delay. But the delayed response is that now we have a way where we could text message instantly, and that means that you can instantly see a reply. Just like if you have an iPhone, you can see the bubbles of somebody's writing or they're not writing. And so that's just how we can see the delay with dance and video footage now. I use on my iPhone, I just discovered a feature where you can click HD and there's like a 30, 40, 60 variation on the side, top right corner. That creates the video to be in like real time motion. So I actually used that in my last dance performance, and oh my goodness, the video came so alive. I can't say enough how the video came alive upgrading that feature. So again, the intentional delay responses are getting better. All right, so they also focused on the bodily connections in space. And so he also talked a lot about using prosthetics and extending the body using technology. Again, I do look into a lot of technology and how technology can help us and upgrade us, like only that. And so I'm always, trying to learn more when it comes to that. And so, we don't just understanding the movement and the translations on sound and how that creates a feedback. And so the young woman in this video, she was trying to explain again the sound translations between the sticks on her body and the movement, which was movement, experience, right? So the movement and the feedback between the phone created the sound that we were hearing in the video. And so in video 8, we're almost done with the breakdown of what we've seen today. Was about Dance and Architect by Stephen Hall and Jessica Lane. And this was the State of the Arts in New Jersey. They dropped this in 2017. It took 10 years, I think, to actually drop this. But the creation of this building looked as though it were 3 buildings, but it was actually one, right? And so this plaza had the studies of music, dance, theater, and literature. And I thought that was a poetic thing because in the outside exterior visual, you see just one building. I'm sorry, 3 buildings, but it's actually one. And so with the plaza being built, there are different bridges and tiers that connected the buildings. And so the students were able to dance in spaces and areas that were timeless. And so video number 9 was the Tesseras of Time. I'm sorry if I pronounced that right. So Demetria was a designer and she's also a dancer, and she had a vision and it worked. And so the movement and the speed was super important to her and her partner, because again, they focused on the 4 ways that related to the ground and movement from ground, which was under, over, in, and on. I found that was amazing because it intertwined with my theme with Earth, again, for the Dance and Architect theme for SNL episode 819 today. This is the last episode that will be focused on Earth again, because this Earth is, again, alluded by the zodiac Capricorn, very grounded, balanced sign. And planetary-wise, this is what we're looking at. They use green screen technology, again, something that I implement within my dance and using that within the Web3 space to give my people a better my community, immersive experience with me, and they can become incentivized as well. So they use the green screen technology for the second part, and for the second 2 last parts, they used a big structure that they built. So it's like a big, physical objects, and they made it very dynamic, and they made objects. And so the last 2 movements were the over, I guess, and the in. I'm not over and under, if I'm not mistaken. The end was used as the green screen portion, which was dope. Ha! Imagine that. So the audience got a full experience. They were able to get a taste of all. They used all their senses. Let's just say that. And so video number 10 was the breakdance video by T.T. Kanupi. I'm sorry if I pronounced that, which was dope with the lights and all the pop locking. And he created scoops in the air. He was like basically creating shapes and stuff. That was dope. Video 11 was an interview with Kimberly Akirt. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. She's a dance and fashion architect for the Expo and Architect Design. And she created a way for the audience to choreograph a dance while interacting and shopping. How dope is that? Basically, that means that she used the reverse theater as an audience. And this was the circular audience that created a traffic. And the traffic had 4 stages surrounding it for reflecting back on the curves that created a geometrical composition, tying in all the shapes, and the audience was able to see themselves as they shop. And as they exited the stage, it created a vortex, right? So the vortex created a dance within itself. Super dope. If you don't understand that, please recheck out that video, sign up for the Patreon. And so the last video, last but not least, was a super dope video with 4 males. It was called Feeling Alone. And they used the mirrors to use an illusion of the arms, which created a dynamic dance piece. It looks like a star shape, so I liked it a lot. And without further ado, we're going to wrap up SNL because we learned a lot today, and we're going to continue with more segments as we come back next time for more. Don't forget to vote. We will be voting for the next season. Yes, we'll be voting for the next season of SNL. I'm sorry, not the next season. We'll be voting for the next episodes, which are episodes 20 and 21. And those episodes are going to be on Force. Those will go live in February. So those are not seasons, the same season 5. But please join the Web3 community, and you can fill out the forms to vote, which is going to get you some points. Eventually, you're going to be able to have enough points to get some free benefits within my ecosystem. But basically, using those points to vote for the Force episodes. Now, those 2 episodes are going to be how recession affected arts and dance and the karmic release through dance. So we have votes already in, and right now, karmic dance release through dance is winning. They're on the run. And so get your votes in there so we can see which episode we want to see first and what order we want to see that in. And you can follow me at iDance Art House Web 3. Again, please, peace, and make sure you collect those Wonderverse points and also collect those pull-ups as well as you attend these SNL episodes. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of SNL Let's Talk About It 2.0 with your hostess, ShivaLeela Allen. Be sure to follow me on my social media platforms. Also, to get alerts for these weekly Web3 events, be sure to join the Discord server. These will give you updates on all of the live broadcasts, as well as you can collect your free NFT POAPs for attending as a community incentive. I would like for you to also become a Patreon member so that you can receive NFT token gated access to all of my monthly events. Please be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and also follow the Raw DAO on IG at P2d RAW Network. P2d RAW Network. We also live stream on all social media platforms, and you can catch that on YouTube as well. So please follow the Raw TV on YouTube. You can also follow me here at iDance Art House Web 3 on YouTube, where all of the live streams will be posted. I wish that everyone
has an awesome, fulfilling, and prosperous day. Thank you. I do not own the rights to any of the music that you hear today. How's everyone feeling tonight? Please be free to ask questions. You can unmute. Please unmute. I'm about to grab me something to drink. Welcome in, CJ. Welcome in, Tiny and Mo. I know there was a few others in here I didn't get to welcome. Well, of course, thank you so much, Mo. I appreciate it. And, we always have space to talk more and to dig deeper, like, because, everyone has their own perceptions. And that's why we're here to talk about it. Like, this is the time to do so. And we focus on dance, culture, NFT, and healing, but those branch out to more things. And the architect part was, it went over my head, that part. I was like, that kind of went over my head, but okay, let's talk about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it is a place for that. And CJ, you say you dance. Do you dance within the Web3 space? I had a quick question I wanted to know. You can also feel free if you want to come down on the couch and sit and talk, you can do so. We are live right now. We are live on YouTube and Instagram. We're also live within the spatial. So feel free, please. If you're speaking, CJ, I can't hear you. I see your OBS symbol, but I don't know if your mic is working.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
There we go. Hey, what's going on? Nice to meet you. JJ, keep it down for a second. Sorry, I'm talking to my son. Yeah, I actually do some dance in the Web3 space. I'm actually an artist. I'm a DJ. I work in Decentraland mainly. I've been hanging out in Spatial a lot more this year. Walk over here. Cool. This is a really cool stage. I really enjoyed the talk and just listening in and just getting to know you a little more. Yeah, I do. I haven't really made any dance NFTs yet. I've been making more music NFTs and art, and also collecting a lot of art over the years. But I mainly perform in Decentraland on a full-time basis, and been able to perform. Last year, I started December 2021, and last year alone, I think we did like 150 plus shows, like live streaming and like pre-recorded sets. So ask away. I'm down to answer any questions you have about it.
Oh, yes. I'm going to have some questions. That is super dope. So what is your genre? Where could we follow you? Because in this space right now, you are meeting all of the core members of the Raw DAO. We are a adhesive ecosystem where we just stream all type of artists, and I am also part of that core team. So like I'm super interested when I hear new artists. And it sounds like you're a parent. I'm also a parent, so multitasking is important. Having that in real life balance, yeah, like it's a thing, it's a vibe here. So, yeah, let us know, your genre and your platform where we could find you and all those goodies, because we could definitely keep in touch through our Discord.
Absolutely. So I actually I mainly I'm an open format DJ, so I play lots of different types of music. I'd say the main three I'd go like hip hop, electronic music, and top 40 pop music. But I'm also Latino, so I play Latin music, and I just kind of like go like with the flow of the crowd. Like that, I've always been I'm in the mobile DJ business, so I come from doing private events like corporate events, weddings. I even got into the bar mitzvah business. I did that for a long time. And then, traveling a lot just made me want to be home more. And, I really wanted to focus on, spending more time with my son. My son is actually a DJ too. He DJs with me. The main platforms you can find me on, I go by the name CJ Tracks, but our whole brand's name is, we go by Team T-Rex. And basically it's like a T-Rex, like our theme is T-Rexes, but we also like play music. So it's like some people call us Tracks, some people call us T-Rex. But you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all through the same username. I use the username DJ Tracks NFT, which is actually my son's DJ name. He goes by DJ Tracks. And yeah, we've been able to build a really big following on all those platforms. I've been really active on Twitter over the last year because that's where I notice a lot of the crypto community is and the Web3 community is. I participate and host a lot of Twitter spaces. And yeah, man, just last year was very experimental. This year is very direct, where last year was just kind of like testing the waters of music NFTs and seeing what it's like to release music as an NFT instead of a streaming platform. And then from there, we were able to find out like, how much, what's the good rarity to list them as, what's the good length of the song, like just basically everything. We were testing it all out, and we were able to rack up about 53 owners. We also got into the digital fashion world in Decentraland, where we create NFTs of actual wearables. So like kind of like the clothes we're wearing right now. But instead of it being through Ready Player One, it's basically like all decentralized, and you can kind of create things that you really want to make without it being kind of filtered through. I don't know how Ready Player One does it, but it's decentralized, so we can pretty much make and design whatever we want and put it out there. So we've gone into the digital fashion world, we've gone into the music scene, and I also dance and I perform. So I've been a dancer for 24 years now, and I'm able to perform while I'm DJing and emceeing because I'm a host too. So I'm able to like give people shout outs live during the show, dance and like entertain them visually, but also while playing the music they like. So we put on like a really, really fun, energetic show for everybody.
Right. So they have already started doing that. And thank you, CJ, for that awesome introduction. Like, I have so many ideas running through my head. That's my Jupiter and Virgo. But, anyways, I'm like, yeah, the AI technology, I know that there's always going to be ways to improve. And so you already know I'm looking at ways to improve self. So, as opposed to the green screen, we've seen that implemented so many times, but I have came across some information where you can actually take yourself. You don't have to have a whole bodysuit on. And there's so many different, there's like a way where they could make marks on the skin and the gestures, even in the face, along with the body. They're going to put like small little straps on your body. Young woman, I'm going to actually share that on my Instagram and everything for y'all. But the young woman actually performed in the metaverse. Like, she did a whole performance. And all she did was put on pieces on her body and, you know, pieces around her face to get the gestures. And they put her in the metaverse, and her performance was like as if the AI, or I guess her digital twin, was really her. It was a seamless process though. And so my idea was like allowing everybody who actually are performers to do that, you know, reaching people that are like, let's say in Japan or whoever, having a concert that could reach the masses without leaving the comfort of your own home. I just keep seeing it, and I know it's gonna blow, because right now, like, the whole pandemic thing, everyone's kind of conditioned to be in the comfort of their own home. And I actually perform really good when I'm home. Like, all of this improvisational, ideas start coming to me, but sometimes I'm performing on stage or with my girls, I might forget a step or two. So that's why we focus on improvisational. And with the AI, that's going to be able to help us reach people, and they're going to be able to really see every expression, every emotion, everything. You're not missing out on anything just by looking at that digital twin.
Yeah, and as for me, I've been. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were gonna speak. Go ahead, you can speak. I didn't realize sometimes it delays a little bit. Yeah, so I've been dipping and dabbing in with the AI technology. Definitely more this year than I did last year. Last year was more so me manually doing everything. I've learned about, obviously creating art is the biggest one right now with AI. I just started really messing with Midjourney today, actually, which is a program that they have built in on Discord, which is really cool. And last year, I make a lot of my art on actually my phone, and then I was able to like use that as the cover art for my music. But I'm looking to make more like AI generated cover art for music, because I just think it's a really cool way to just kind of integrate AI. And like, it just, for me, I'm always the person who always says work smarter, not harder. So it's like, yeah, we can hand draw and hand do everything like I have been my whole life. I come from painting and like, creating art since middle school. I really like fell in love with art. But I really started liking using Midjourney, using Chat GBT as like a way to just interact with AI and just kind of see like how it can benefit me or how to make my life more consistent and more just to make it more easier. Like because as a multitasker and as a person who has ADHD, like my mind's always constantly moving. So it's like for me to be able to work faster, so that I could focus more on the music side of things is really important to me. I never, at first, I was kind of like iffy about the AI thing, because I realized like, right away that it was just kind of like, stealing people's artwork and then kind of using that to make other art. But after just hearing other people out and just hearing their sides of things, I was a little more open to it. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys know this too, but even a little bit aside from the AI thing, I've actually cemented my dance moves in Decentraland, because just like the way you can here in Spatial, where you can do dance moves, in Decentraland you can actually create your own. So I'm not necessarily a 3D designer, but I know I know a lot of them. So I was able to take my dance moves, because I do a lot of like popping and robotics and animation. So I was able to take my dance moves, send videos out to some 3D designers, and then they were able to make my dance moves into Decentraland. So I currently have 2 dance emotes you can mint as an NFT, and people buy those. But besides that, back to AI. I don't want to get too off topic of that, but I've been using AI to, like I said, create more cover art. I have Googles all over my house, and we use Siri on our iPhone, so it's not like AI is brand new to the humanity. It's just that now ChatGPT is going to become the next hot topic because it's pretty much going to be the next competitor of Google, and Google has been like controlling our lives a lot for the last 20 years, and now we have something else that's going to kind of come in and take over. So I've been like just experimenting with it, not giving it too much of humans recipe of like raw emotion and realness, but I've been just messing with it a little bit, just seeing what it's about. I had a friend introduce it to me about 3 weeks ago, and just kind of seeing how it can benefit all the things that we got going here. But yeah, AI is going to become a big player in all this, and yeah, just having everything cemented on the blockchain for me was like really important because I never was a fan of the Hollywood industry, and that's everybody's gonna have their opinion about it. But for me, I didn't want to become so like jaded or like just become like a puppet to what Hollywood wants you to become. And for me, Web3 is about being independent and about true like indie reach and organic reach and reaching your audience. And to me, I say this all the time, but it's better to have a thousand solid followers and fans than to have millions and millions of people that don't really care about what you're doing. And that's why I love blockchain so much, because I have a small audience, but they support us so much that I don't have to worry about people streaming my music and having 10 million streams to make a couple $100,000 and wait throughout the years to get it. I can get it like right when I put it out there. It reminds me of back in the days when we used to sell mixtapes and sell CDs. Like it was like you sell it directly to the person and then they own that CD. So for now it's just all in the digital world, and we've been able to create a really really cool community within Decentraland, and now I'm making my way more into spatial. So I'm just looking to meet more people here that are in other metaverses, and just make solid connections with people.
Right. And to piggyback off of that, I'm sorry, Mo. Mo could tell you a little bit about the Fitness Friday that we host. We host live token gated Fitness Fridays, and those are based off NFTs, dance NFTs at that. And when you enter the space, you of course have to have that token. And we're learning fitness. I'm a tribal fusion belly dancer, and so I implement that with fitness. And so the beginning part, we are doing, abductions, we're working out, we're stretching, and then the last part, we're improvising. So I love that you guys are doing that, because like me and Mo here sitting at the couch, we talk about it every other Saturday. Like, one day the people are going to come, one day the people are going to come, one day the community is going to grow. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot of followers. It takes the solid people that actually understand your idea, your passion, your mission. Like I've been at this for almost 2 years in spatial, but I hadn't started this until last year. So with joining the DAO, when I started getting live streamed, that community started to support me. And so it is not about, that is about this. You get what I'm saying? It's about this and then like that. I'm also interested in those dance moves because before, I've been in special for 2 years, but they've always been upgrading. And when I was first here, they had none of this. Nothing. They had none of this. All I had was an idea. I want to host shows about dance culture, NFT, and healing. Recently, they added and upgraded the dance moves, and it was perfect timing because we had the Raw Meta Gala. That was an awesome gala at the end of 2022, which showcased some amazing members and community members, core members. I myself performed, and we had a foundation that we gave back to Hidden Genius Pro. So my NFT performance was giving back to that foundation. We had beanies on sale. So we had an amazing end of 2022. And I knew that 2023 was going to be also amazing. So I'm going to digress. And Mo, please give your insight on that. If you have any time on your hands, I know we've been at it for a minute.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I appreciate you allowing me to come up and speak. And this is the first time I'm coming in here, but I just just kind of been exploring around the spatial realm. And like I said, I've been last year I had to spend a lot of time traveling last year because I was finishing off a lot of my events. I live in Las Vegas right now, but I'm originally from the East Coast, so a lot of my work was in Baltimore and DC. So I was doing a lot of work and traveling a lot last year. So this year I actually put that life aside so that I can dive more into the metaverse, because it was a little bit it was a lot, being a parent, traveling, being in the metaverse all the time, it took a lot out of me last year. So this year, I'm spending way less time traveling. I'm spending more time from at home with my son. My fiance is actually involved in all this too. She's become a metaverse influencer in Decentraland with me. So it's been really cool. We're the one of the only families of 3 that have been able to really take Decentraland for what it really is, because there was a lot of false reports going out last year about how many users were actually in it, and it kind of actually it was like the fuel to the fire that we needed in Decentraland, because a lot of people were like, yo, there's way more. There was an article that came out and said there was only 38 users, and there's way more than that. I mean, there's maybe 3,000 plus users a week in that place. So and maybe more. I could be wrong with even that number, but I'm physically witnessing it. I'm seeing people at my parties. The parties get up to maybe. Sometimes you get 20 people at a party. Sometimes you get hundreds of people at a party. It all depends on the actual, the event that people throw. But last year I was able to DJ in front of thousands of people, introduce them to my social media channels, which is really awesome, because on TikTok we were able to grow our following up to 300,000 followers over a few years. And I actually abandoned that page for a little bit because I was so deeply involved in Web3 that Twitter kind of took over my life. And yeah, we were able to really take this whole concept of being an independent family and be musicians and really truly enjoy what we do. And yeah, it's been really, really fun, man. I've been able to get directly involved with Decentraland itself, working with the foundation and the DAO, and doing events for Metaverse Fashion Week and doing Metaverse Music Festival Week. It was just a crazy year last year. And we built a really, really solid community around that. So, I have people that hold my one-of-one NFTs. I have people that hold my music NFTs. And my project isn't really one that's really based on necessarily, this project is going to be worth $50 million in the future. No, mine's is more like a collector's item for people to really support an independent artist as a dancer and as a musician. And, we've been able to really connect with a lot of people through that. I've worked with Samsung sometimes. I've worked with a company called Black Paris. I've worked with I've actually streamed a party that was actually streamed out to an event out in London, which is really, really cool. So you get to be in London without having to even be there. I was up on a giant screen and I was able to DJ parties all over the world without having to physically be there. So that was really cool for me. And, I got to do it with my son at the same time. And yeah, we're just spreading the word about what we got going on over here, because I feel like the world should know about it. And Web3 is a small community, but I think it'll grow really, really big over the next few years, as it's already becoming mass adopted. But just even an example real quick. I know I don't want to hold you guys for too long, but me going to my favorite artist is The Weeknd. So I went to a Weeknd concert last summer, and what do you see on the screen is Binance showcasing an NFT, like an NFT that you can collect from The Weeknd, which I thought was really, really cool. And it just goes to show you that this is going to become way more mainstream over the years. And in Decentraland itself, man, I've seen major brands come set up shop, and their building is just sitting there, just collecting dust now. But it's always going to be there for them to fall back on as the world continues to get to be more inside and just get used to being in his digital nomad lifestyle. I think it's going to become huge. And yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I know sometimes I can ramble off and rant off, but that's just the way my mind works. Yeah, it's been a really cool space. It's a really beautiful space here. I was falling through the steps when I first came in, and I was like, I gotta get back in. So I kept refreshing and got myself back in here to listen in. But thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. And I want to just piggyback and end it off with that. Yeah, we're creating history, and this space is history. So please love the space. please check the chat box because you will be able to then go into that, claim your POAT with me. That is also going to be your way of saying, hey, I have this proof of concept, because that is what we're all about. Right. So all about that proof of concept. And yeah, so thank you so much for being here. And without further ado, if any more questions, please let me know. If you want to leave a sticky note, I digress, and enjoy your beautiful Saturday night.